Okay, we're now going to tackle the limit of a function. So, for example, we consider this function f of x is equals to 3x plus 1. Then we assume that we are going to assign some values of x where values of x near but not equal to a specific number. So, for example, we are going to choose the number 2. So, not exactly equal to 2, but is near number 2. So, somewhat an approximation of 2. Okay, so we have a table here. The first row is for the values of x. And the values of x are assigned like this. So, from 1.5 up to 2.1. So, nagalapo siya, tapos nagapadool siya, nagapadool siya sa value of 2, pero not exactly 2. Tapos, dari ana point, nagapalayo na siya sa value of 2. So, kumbaga, murang mo yung point niya. The rest, nagapalayo na siya ng number 2. Okay. Then, f of x, mo ang values sa f of x kanina. Kung ato ang ibutang ang kanina mga values. So, for example, f x is equals to 1.5, so this is the output. Then, this is x, and this is the output, and so on. Okay. Ito pang i-expound. So, for example, 1.5. X is 1.5. So, 3 times x, which is 1.5, is equals to 4.5. Then plus 1, which is 5.5. So, ano lang. Okay, so, ang whole idea in table, para masakta na ito ang sa limits. Okay, so balik na dali So we're going to set a value of x near but not really equal to number 2. So as you may notice, the two values of x is somewhat very near to 2 are these values. Then their corresponding values of f of x, which is this one, is also somewhat near or nearer to number 7. Then if you're going to matuanan siyang ipadayon, nagapalayo tayo sa number 2. So therefore, hindi natin consider yung mga natin sa gilid. So matuwa lang whole purpose na kay approach the x approaches the value of 2, but not really equal to 2. So, ang pinaka-close, balik na, pinaka-close na values sa x na may mong 2 kay kaning 2. So, 1.999 and 2.009. So, kanindalian, 2.050, medyo palayo na siya gamay. Daliapon, medyo kulang ito sa number 2, so 1.89. So, therefore, we can say that, so the table shows that when x is near 2, so when x is near the value of 2, whether a little less, this one, or a little greater than, something like this, than 2, so f of x is near to 7, so this one. So near to 7. So ano yung concept? So ato ang iutangan near if 2 atong i-input, ang atong output is nearer to 7. Dili siya equal to 7 because this is not equal to 2. So murag approximation ng ato ang makuha. So therefore, kani 3x our function, kung ano function 3x plus 1 approaches the value 7 as x approaches the value of 2. So, ano na siya simple. So, actually, we can try this at home. Pwede niyo change, for example, gusto niyo putang 4, near to 4 but not really equal to 4. So, i-check natin kung saan values or ang values sa f of x kung ato ibutang. For example, katong 4. So, obviously, musab kung may values niya. Kaya naman ito ang values sa x. So, ano lang. So, nasabtan na nga concept, medyo dali naman siya sabton, tapos ato lang, hindi siya equal but somewhat approximation. So, mo na 3x plus 1 is approaches 7 as x approaches 2. So, dili ako lang equal to 7 and equal to 2. Kaya dili na siya pwede. Or the limit of 3x plus 1 as so now is the limit of 3x plus 1, which is a function, as x approaches 2 is 7. So mo na ito limit in this function. And then gani, mo na ito set na value. Or para mas compact pa dyan, or para mas mathematical sa tanawo, o isaw, pinag-ikutan na the lim of this function 3x plus 1 as x approaches 2 is equal to 7. So the limit of 3x plus 1 as x approaches 2 is equal to 7. So this is our answer. So once again, if I can sa balay, change niyo ang values. For example, near say butang na to atong ganiya 4. So naman butang na og values sa table na padulong sa 4, then doon lang sa 4, pero dili equal sa 4, then palayo lang sa 4. So para makuha nila yung sa butang. Okay, so yan na. Kani magbabasa ni is Adria. So the limit of f of x as x approaches a is equals to L. So where f of x is any function, dili lang na function, sa na function, then a and L are numbers. Then babasa, the limit of f of x as x approaches a is L. So this is our answer, which is the limit. Okay, so we have an example here. So we are going to find the limit of 4 minus x squared as x approaches 1. So we're going to write here the limit of 4 minus x squared. So this is our function, then this is the value as x approaches 1. Is equal to, we're just going to substitute the value of x here. So therefore this is just 4 minus x, which is 1 squared, and is equals to 4 minus, this is just 1, is equals to 3. So this is our limit, or this our L here. So muna na yung answer. So ano na siya sa iyo na ang limits. Pero not all limits are very defined, something like this. So mali basic po man. Okay, so na po i-flash na image niya. This is called theorems and limits. So na siya 8 ka formulas. So inyo lang na i-familiarize ang formulas. Pero din ito sa gamiton kay una, lengthy kayo, then kedua, time consuming. Then tulo ay unnecessary. So mo skip na tato na part na magamit ang theorems and limits, pero ako na gagawin sa inyo sa isa kang image. Then diretso ta sa solving the limits of function by straight substitution. Okay, so example number 1, we have another limit, or we have another function, x squared plus 3x plus 4, then x approaches 2. So this is just straight sum means is diretso substitute. So atong theorems on limits, dapat tayo ganun gibuhat na delete. Necessary. So kanay diretso lang butang sa 2. Then remember, at wala siya gibutang na equal, pero dili siya exactly equal, but very close to the value of 3. So ano lang keep in mind. So x squared, this now becomes 2 squared plus 3 times 2 plus 4. So this is 4, this is 6, this is 4. So this is just 14. So this is now your limit as x approaches to this function. Okay, so example number 2. Okay, so example number 2, find the limit of x plus 4 multiplied by the square root of 2x plus 5. So by using straight sum, we should now insert or substitute the values of x. So this is just 2 plus 4, then times square root of 2 times 2 plus 5. So this is 6 square root of 4 plus 5. Equal to 6 square root of 4 plus 5 is 9. Then the square root of 9 is just 3. So therefore, this is 6 times 3. Or this is equal to 18. So ano lang. Then, another example number 3. So we're going to find the limit of this function, which is 3x plus 4 squared as x approaches 3. So this is just 3 times x plus 3 plus 4 raised to 2. This is just 9 plus 4 squared. This is just 13 squared, and then 13 squared is 169. So, one answer sa number 2. So this is a continuation about limits of functions. Then we're just going to talk first about infinity. So consider if you have a function of f of x is equals to 1 over x, we're going to assume that x approaches 0, so namin yan ang equal. So we have the values of x. So you can see the values of x are slowly approaching 0. So 0.1, 0.01, 0.001, 0.0001, along sa 0. So nagagamay ang values. Then of course, f of x is just 1 over x. So if you're going to substitute 0.1 to x, this is going to be 10. Then if x is equals to 0.01, so 1 divided by 0.01 is just 100. Then this is just 1,000. Then this is 10,000. So as you can see the pattern, if x slowly approaches 0, therefore 1 over x, or this function, slowly approaches infinity. So habang nagano po ang value sa x, habang nagano ang value sa x, nagana po ang value sa atong function ng 1 over x. So approaches infinity. So therefore, the limit for this is approaches infinity as x approaches 0. So nala relationship. Or this is just limit of 1 over x as x approaches 0 is infinity. So then we have limit at infinity. So for example, ato ay balyon. So same function, so 1 over x, then ato ang value sa x approaches infinity, yun yan ay approaches 0. So ang may tabuan muna kabalikaran lang ani. So habang nagana po ang value sa x, nagamay ang value sa f of x. So therefore, 1 over x approaches 0 as x approaches infinity. So di ba kung mag-divide ka, dapat may number, gamay o taman ang ito ang value. So kani, 1 divided by x as x approaches infinity is just like this. So 1 over x approaches 0 as x approaches infinity. Or this is just the limit of 1 over x as x approaches infinity is equal to 0. So remember, approaches na dili dyan mabot sa infinity. So kung dili na pwede. Dapat approaches na pwede. Because we are dealing with limits. So money answer. Okay, so we have examples here siguro dua lang paraan. So example number 1. So the limit of 1 over x cubed as x approaches infinity. So this is just or infinity lang yapon or 0. Nala. Okay, so what the answer? So 1 over x cubed, x is approaches infinity. So mura na ako infinity yapon kay i-cube yung infinity kasi ako. So 0 yapon ang answer. Then example number 2. So the limit of 4 over x squared as x approaches infinity is just 4 over infinity squared. So this is just 4 divided by infinity. Of course, 4 is a very, very small number compared to infinity. So therefore, 0 yung answer. So, nami lang yung answer. I hope na nakuha. Okay, so dito nangyari if for example, x approaches infinity, napunta tayo ginatawag na kung indeterminate forms. So, example ganito. A function f of x where is equals to n of x, so numerator ni n, then denominator ni d, may assume the indefinite form infinity divided by infinity when x is replaced by infinity or when x approaches infinity. So, pag inani ang answer, hindi siya ideal answer. Wala inani na answer dapat. So, hindi siya defined or indefinite form siya. Dapat kuha din indeterminate. So, wala nakabala kung sa dyan pag inani na. Infinity by infinity. So, ito na nga po yun. So, for another example na inaanan mo po, for example, ganito. So, the limit of 4x cubed plus 3x squared minus 6 divided by 2x cubed plus 5x plus 3 as x approaches infinity is ganito. Ito ay pang-insert ang value sa x kada variable. So, this is 4 plus 3 plus 3 infinity squared minus 6 divided by 2 infinity cubed plus 5 infinity plus 3. So 4 times infinity cube, obviously infinity yapon. So 4 times infinity, murag wala ang impact sa 4, gamay na siya para sa infinity. Then plus, this is also infinity minus 6 over infinity plus also infinity plus 3. So infinity plus infinity, obviously infinity yapon. Minus 6, tingnan maya infinity minus 6, so infinity yapon na. Yan, so opposed for infinity plus infinity plus 3, also infinity. So, ato ang nakuha na answer kay indeterminate form. So, we're going to avoid that by using basic technique. So, para makuha nato ang value or ang limit of this polynomial as x approaches 8, so So kung nakita ninyo na, for example, mag-solve ninyo infinity over infinity ang answer, ang inyong atong bottom na lang is we are going to divide or multiply both sides by, multiply both the numerator and the denominator by the biggest, or divide the numerator and the denominator by the greatest or by the highest power of x. So ang highest power of x dali sa kaning dual ka numerator kay kaning x cube dali. So for example, x raised to 4 siya, obviously divide by x raised to 4 since ang highest man sa kanina function kay x raised to 3, so ato ang i-divide both sides by or multiply both sides by 1 over x cube. So the same naman na, diba? Ang 1 i-multiply o ganang the same lang ni kung ato ay multiply din niya, diba? Reciprocal na rule. So pag mag-multiply ta, for example, divide sugod niya, ato ay multiply, ato ang kuha ng reciprocal sa kung ato ang i-divide. So wala naman sila mga. Then also the same with the denominator. So balik kung nato ka na makuha kung infinity over infinity, which is an indeterminate form, usabo na to ang solution, usabo ang solution, tapos i-try the method. Since we are going to find first the highest power of x sa kanang duwa. So since x cube man ang highest power, so we are going to multiply both sides by 1 over x cube, or we are going to divide both sides by x cube, which is the same. So dapat duwa ka sides or duwa ang numerator o ang denominator atong i-divide by the highest power para valid ang ato ang answer. So if that is the case, so 4x cubed divided by or multiplied by 1 over x cubed is just 4. Then 3x squared divided by x cubed is just 3 over x. Then negative 6 times 1 over x cubed is negative 6 over x. And over 2x cubed times 1 over x cubed is 2 plus 5x times 1 over x cubed is 5 over x squared. Then 3 times 1 over x cubed is just 3 over x. Okay? So, kung inaalala na siya, pwede na natin ma-apply ang pag-distribute sa x. So, kanina wala, mag-start na siya. So, as is 4 plus 3 over infinity minus 6. Or pwede sa so 4 plus 3 over the limit of 3 over x as x approaches infinity. So valid na rin which is just 0. So what number divided by x approaches infinity is just 0. So kanin siya 0 na rin. Then also this one 0 na rin. Parang itap mo rin. Then 3 2 kanin may 0. Remember, 0 lang siya pag infinity ang x. 3 upon 0. So this is just 4 over 2, which is. So, from an indeterminate form ganina, which is infinity over infinity, nakuha na ito ang limit sa ating na function gamit ni na method. So, nakuha na sila ang method. So, mo na ang method. So, to find the limit, we first divide n of x, which is kani, and d of x, which is kani, by the highest power of x. Then, evaluate the limit. So, evaluate the limit, meaning ani, or ganyan. Okay, we have another example for indeterminate forms. So this is, we're going to find the limit of 4x plus 5 over x squared plus 1 as x approaches infinity. So first thing to do is check if this is indeed an indeterminate form. So by just looking at it, I can already tell that this is an indefinite form because we are going to plug the values of x here and here. We're going to come up with 4 times infinity plus 5 over infinity squared plus 1. So 4 times infinity is infinity plus 5 over infinity squared is infinity plus 1. This is just infinity over infinity. So this is indeterminate form. So therefore, since this is an indeterminate form, we're going to solve this using this method. So the method states that we're going to divide the numerator and the denominator by the highest power of x. So the highest power of x here is x squared. Therefore, we're going to divide both sides by x squared or multiply both sides by the reciprocal of x squared, which is just the same. Okay, so 4x multiplied by 1 over x squared is just 4 over x. Then plus 5 divided by x squared is just 5 over x squared. Then this is equal to, over x squared divided by x squared is 1. Plus 1 over x squared is just 1 over x. So, after doing that, we're going to evaluate the limits. So remember, 4 over infinity as x, and 4 over x as x approaches infinity, something like this. So, sa limit at infinity. So therefore, if we divide 4 by a very large value, we're going to come up with 0. Then same with this one, 0. Then can copy lang by constant man, so 1 plus 0 again. So this is just 0 over 1, or this is 0. So the limit of this function as x approaches infinity is just 0. Okay, so this is the last part of this lecture, which is continuity. So a function of f of x is continuous at x is equal to a if the limit of f of x as x approaches a is equal to f of a. So there are three conditions para matawag ito. Ang isa ka function na continuous siya ani na value. First, f of a is defined. So f of a here is the limit of f of x as x equals a. So therefore, f of defined siya. Real number, dili lang 0 over 0, infinity over infinity, or infinity. So as long as define ang number, define ang f of a, matawag siya na continuity. Then number 2, the limit of f of x as x approaches a is equal to L should exist. So the limit should exist. Then number 3, the limit should be f of a, or this one. So if any of these conditions are not satisfied, then f of x is said to be discontinuous at this value. So lamay isahay na ang function continuous siya ani na value, pero kung sabunin mo ang value, discontinuous siya. So naay mga na cases. Okay, so continuity, masabot lang na wala na po lang line. For example, gani. Example number 1, if f of x is equal to x squared, is f of x, which is equal to x squared, continuous at x is equals to 2. So, atong function is x squared, then kung graph na siya, parabolic na siya na line or graph. So, this is the function. Ano yung function? Ano? Then, ang pangutana namin is the function continuous at x is equals to 2. So, for example, ang 2 na to is, so 1 and 2 na siya. So, mo na ang 2. So, since nianghiran mo siya sa line, masabot na continuous ang ato ang function at x is equals to 2. And then, by using these three conditions, para mas ma-check na to na continuous din ang function if x is equals to 2, itong gamitin ng limits. So the limit here is f of x, which is x squared. The limit of x squared as x approaches 2 is equals to x squared, which is 2 squared, is equal to 4. So 4 is defined, and then L exists, then L is equals to 5. So therefore, this is a continuous function if x is equals to 2. So for example, we're going to add another, for example, x is equals to 4 or negative 4. Example lang. So ito i-check kung ito bang limit or ito bang function kay continuous yapon if x is equals to negative 4. So let's check that. So limit, so x squared, the function x squared, as x approaches negative 4 not 2 is equals to negative 4 squared, which is 16. So therefore, continuous yapon siya sa 16. So x here is ganin, then y is ganin. So basta-basta 4 ano yun kay define siya, define siya. So negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4. So niagi, naigo po niya ang line. So or naigo niya ang function. So sabot na continuous siya with x being 2 and x also being negative 4. Then by the way, in this example, x squared, which is parabola, any value of x continuous ang ato ang function. So wala siya, kumbaga wala siya kanang dili malabyan sa line na number. So always siya continuous. So from negative infinity to positive infinity, always continuous ang function. So unsa ba na values of x ang ibutang sa kanila sa example, which is x squared. So yun na tusan niyo ang graphical representation o kaning limits representation sa continuity. Okay, so ito sa recall. So x squared, dali na siya ma-draw kay common man na siya na function. So, parabola, then x is equals to 2 daw. Is this continuous at x is equals to 2? So is the function x squared continuous at x is equals to 2? So this is 2, so therefore naigo niya ang line sa function. Therefore continuous siya sa x is equals to 2. Then also is x squared continuous at x is equals to negative 4. So this is x which is negative 4, naigo niya ang line. So buta na continuous naman siya sa negative 4. So nada. Okay, so another example is f of x, which is 1 over x, continuous at a, x is equals to 3, then at b, x is equals to 0. So the graphical representation of 1 over x is just this. So kumbaga, dua siya ng mga lines. So this is f of x, and this is also our function of x. Okay, so first at the bottom, and then para ma-determine ito kung continuous versus x equals to 3, gamitan natin ang limits. So limit of function, which is 1 over x, as x approaches 3 is equals to 1 over 3, diba? So this is a defined number. So therefore, x over 1 over x is continuous at x is equals to 3. Kumbaga, nasa sa mga entry, naigo niya ang function. Maikot niya ang line sa function. Then what if negative 3? For example lang, negative 3. So kung negative 3, the limit of 1 over x as x approaches negative 3. So this is 1 over negative 3. So this is also a defined value. So therefore, continuous yung siya at x is equals to negative 3. So negative 3 mo tanong na yan. So may kogyan ko niya ang value. Okay, so for the next value of x is 1 over x continuous at x is equals to 0. Go ahead, check. So to do that, first is gamit ang limits. So limit of 1 over x as x approaches 0 is equals to 1 over 0, which is infinity. So infinity is not undefined, so therefore when infinity is not defined, so therefore we can say that 1 over x is discontinuous at this interval x is equals to 0. So kung makita niyo sa graph no, kung ano 0 na origin, dili niya maigo ang sa kusawa niya o gani, dili niya maigo ang line niya. Mo na pasabot sa continuity. Dapat maigo niya ang line, dapat ang x maigo niya ang line sa function. Kaya ang 3 maigo niya ang line, ang x maigo niya ang line, ay ang negative 3 maigo niya ang line. Pero pag 0 ang x, dili niya maigo ang line, so minsan pa na siya ka taas. So mo na ato ang ganahan. Kung continuous gani, maigo ang line or ang function. Pag discontinuous, dili siya malabay sa function. Ano lang? So, and then, side note, this function is only discontinuous at, so this continuous at x is equals to 0. So any other number which is not 0, continuous siya. Sa x is equals to 0 lang siya, is continuous. Or meaning, wala siya naigo. Wala na naigo ang function. So ano lang. Okay, so example number 3 for continuity. So is this function which is 4x over x squared minus 4 continuous over the interval, this interval. So this interval means that x is greater than or equal to 0, then x is less than or equal to 5. So therefore, kung ato siyang minayon o kuan, the interval is number of something, di ba? So kung ato siyang isa-isaon, x, ang atong pinakaunang value sa x, di ba? X is greater than or equal to 0. So meaning, hindi siya may mga negative, pero pwede siya may 0. So ang first na value is 0. Then 1, and di ba, ang gagawa na condition is x is less than or equal to 5. So dili dapat siya malabas sa 5. So therefore, yung endpoint is 5. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So mga ang numbers sa interval. Kaya ito is, kumbaga, ito isa-isa ako mag-check kung ang function mo daw kay continuous ani. So good as 0. So gamit ito ang limit. So limit of this function 4x over x squared minus 4 as x approaches 0. Ang answer ni is 4 times 0, 0 squared minus 4. So this is just 0 divided by negative 4, which is 0. So 0 is a defined number, so therefore, continuous siya sa 0. Okay, so manata sa 0, x equals to 1. The limit of 4x over x squared. So kung talaga naman, dapat define na 0, di ba? Kapulong sa 0. So therefore, tama siya ang 0 3. Next is, sorry, dapat 1. Next is, kanina po. So is it continuous at 1? So this is just 4 times 1 over 1 squared minus 4. 4 over 1 minus 3 by 1 minus 4. So this is just 4 over negative 3. Okay, so this is once again a defined value. So therefore, continuous siya sa 1. Okay, next is for number 2. As x approaches 2. Okay, so this is 4 times 2 over 2 squared minus 4. So this is just 8 over 4 minus 4. Then 8 divided by 0. So this is an undefined value because we are dividing by 0. So therefore, this function is not continuous at 2. So since it's not continuous at 2, and then the question is the function continuous over the interval, kanina interval. So therefore, dapat kanina mag-check nito, dapat kumbaga as a whole, dapat walay discontinuous na part sa interval. So since ang 2 man, which is nabilong sa interval, then discontinuous siya, therefore, kanina interval, discontinuous na siya, kanina function, discontinuous siya sa kanina interval. So, ano na siya? So, pag interval kanina, grupo na sila dapat. Yeah, kung saan pumunta na, dapat grupo na yung answer. So, balik na. Is the function continuous over the interval, which is this or this? So the answer is no, because of this number right here. So therefore, you are going to write the answer. F of x is this, is not, is this continuous? Or over the interval 0. So, kumbaga mo na yung answer. So, ito lang siya state na f of x is discontinuous over the interval of this one. Then, we concluded this because of this value of x. So since kabalo naman na discontinuous siya sa value of x, dili na ko magpalayo diriya. Kaya isa lang ka discontinuous ang kailangan para may bala na kung continuous or dili ang ato ang function. So ano lang. So mo na yung answer. Okay, last example for the topic is continuity. So in this example, we're going to find the value or values of x for which the function is discontinuous, meaning undefined ang iyang answer. Or dili wala lang meet ang iyang, wala lang go ang iyang function sa value of x. Okay, so number 1, very simple. Kita lang ito value, di ba? One of the undefined values is what is divided by 0. So in this case, number 1, we're just going to have a value of x is equals to 5 para may 0 ang ubos. So, kung ito na yung parang result, since x is equals to 5, may muna siya 3 times 5 over 5 minus 5, which is equal to 15 over 0. So this is undefined, so therefore the answer is just x equals to 5. So simple lang. Okay, for number 2, actually, we cannot find any values of x that will make this discontinuous function. Because, kung saan ito butang nila, negative ba na ito na? Negative x, for example, negative 2 squared niya po, so negative times negative 4. So, kung isa na value sa x, kung ibutang nila or nila, always siya may positive positive. Then since positive niya, positive po siya, dili siya mahimong 0 ang post. So muna, ang answer niya is none. I hope na po rin. And then number 3, we just 1 over 2 raised to x minus 8. So the value of x that will make this discontinuous is just 3. Because 2 raised to x is, or 2 raised to 3 is just 8. So 8 minus 8, 0. So therefore, 1 over 0 ang answer. So meaning discontinuous siya sa x equals to 2. So ano lang. So, murag mo na ang simple ways para makabalata kung saan ang values ang discontinuous o wala nilabay ang function. So, number 1, x equals to 5 because 5 minus 5 is 0 sa denominator. Number 2, 9 because always positive ang value nila whether negative o katibutan na x. So, negative niya squared man, so positive yun. So, dili siya may mong discontinuous. So, therefore, any values of x continuous yan. Wala siya discontinuity. Then, number 3, 2 raised to 3 is just 8. So, 8 minus 8, 0 ang yan. Denominator. So, therefore, x is equals to 3 should make this discontinuous.